In the 21st century, right? Is there a way to condense it to develop this intuitive feel or get these experience shoehorned in some way to knock that time down? Like, pretend you had a magic wand and create something. Could you design a program or a protein drink, or be
It,
cute with that, to develop professional intuition and structural engineering in a year or a long afternoon? Like, what's
yeah,
how much time does it
I
take?
don't know if it would condense it to a year,
Right.
but I think for me, what it was just trying something different. I mean, I have a degree in architectural engineering. They said, the company said, we have a flood control gate project.
Okay.
It's like, okay, I don't know anything about flood control gates, but I'll give it a shot. And it worked out really, really well. And then they said, okay, there's beam here, a box beam bridge. I never designed a bridge. I don't have a degree in civil engineering. Okay, I'll give it a shot. And because I was able to take some of that stuff that I learned from those two projects and apply it to another project where the principal ended up saying, huh, I never would have thought of that. Here I am unlicensed, right? More or less right out of college. And I propose something, and the principal in charge in the project says, oh, I never would have thought of that. It's because I tried something different. And okay, then it's like, all right, I'll try working for a contractor, not being employed directly by a contractor, but performing construction related services,
Sure.
temporary shoring, erection, demolition. All of that is still load path stuff. If you've got a shoring post to hold something up, you need to know what its load is. You need to know how to stop. You need to know how to stop it from toppling over. It's all load path stuff. It's still the same basic. You have you have essentially three structural elements to work with. You have bearing elements, you have tension elements, and you have bending elements. And you can rearrange them in any way, shape, or form you want. The Brooklyn Bridge has those three things. The World Trade Center has those three things and only those three things. But by trying different things.
A piano only has so many. Music has. I actually don't know how many notes is part of piano, but
Right,
those are the sounds.
right.
You can make anything you want out of it.
Yeah. The guitar has 6 strings, right?
There we go.
But you try something different. And you'd be surprised how much you can then apply that into something else. Right? Working on a little walkway along a canal in Massachusetts,
Okay.
replacing the slab that's corroded.
Okay.
Well, we need a expansion joint there. The old joint was just failing. It failed probably within 2 years.
Okay.
It's like, okay, well, parking garage joints last a really long time, so that's what we're going to use here. And the architect says, "Where on earth did you get this?" I'm like, well, I've done parking garages before and repairs to parking garages. Oh, okay. It's by exposing yourself to as much as you can, that can condense this time that it takes to develop a gut feel. But that's not an easy thing to do. Most firms, particularly engineering firms, think this is what we do. We want to do this. We want to do this. It's like, I'm not talking about designing a 150-story building. I don't know how to do that. I don't want to do that. Right. But by just say, okay, I'll do some stuff for the contractor here. I'll do an excavation bracing here. so that the next project that I'm working on right now that has excavation bracing that I'm not designing, but it's at least part of the project. We're excavating down like 30 feet.
Okay.
Okay, I can't just draw a thin line on the drawings and say excavation support by others.
Right.
This is going to be a 2 foot deep wall, 2 foot thick wall when it's all said and done.
There are people that are just draw a line on the page and say
I know.
excavation support by others.
And I've been the other.
Right.
And I'm like, this doesn't work. But I've done some high-end residential. There's a period of time when I was doing mostly wastewater treatment tanks.
Yep.
There was a period of time where I did mostly bridges, smaller, not more than maybe 200 foot long.
Okay.
There was a period of time when I was doing mostly work for contractors, excavation support, erection, demolition kind of stuff.
Yep.
There was a period of time when I was focusing mostly on existing buildings,
Okay.
historic preservation, which is what I prefer. But right now I'm working on this massive concrete frame building, like massive, at least compared to the other things that I've ever worked on. And I can try it all. And some of the most pointed comments from the client had to do with the veneer of the building and making sure that the veneer worked. And we're sitting in a team meeting, and one of the architects looks at me and he says, "You've already identified all these things. They haven't made it to the drawings yet, but you've already identified all these things." It's a veneer. It's not structural, quote unquote, but a crack is a response to a structural load, even if it is a non-structural element.
The veneer's grabbing the wind and sooner or later dumping it into the bones of the structure.
Yeah. Right. So that would be my way to condense it, is to just try as much as you can. Go to the field as much as you can.
So let me draw an analogy. Like, you ever see the movie Top Gun?
Yes.
And the actual program Top Gun. My understanding, it came to be because we had unacceptable air losses in early Vietnam War.
Yeah.
And it was a tale of two groups of people, right? The Air Force and the Navy had similar losses. The Air Force said our radars need to be better. And the Navy goes, we're not training ourselves that well. So they immersed their students in this Top Gun program and said, we're going to kill you 20 times. Mm-hmm. And every time you get killed, we're going to do a post-mortem and we're going to say how we did it. So when you pop out of this program, you've been through this and you can teach others. And when the air war resumed, it was night and day.
Yeah.
My gut tells me that that's the solution here. You almost since you can download all the equations and textbooks you'll ever need in a 4-year program.
Oh yeah.
Most universities put it up there for free.
Yeah.
If programs don't turn into the 4-year Top Gun programs where you're just trying,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the value is going to be versus the cost anymore. There's a huge cost. You got to keep the value in line with the cost.
Right.
I think they should turn to Top Gun programs.
Well, I don't think that the educational system is. It's certainly not all that it could be. There's an awful lot of institutional inertia to stop it from changing, which is why we were up on the hill at RPI there. We had the opportunity to meet with the capstone person. It's like, you need to change the whole program. Right? There were some things that were wastes of time. There are things that could have been done differently, and it it's really changed the program. So I'm not suggesting that we go up there and say, let's do wholesale changes, but a little bit here and a little bit there is what can be done. And all of us as quote professional engineers, somebody who wants to give back to the profession, there's no reason why we can't go to RPI or to whatever school you went to or whatever school is nearby and say, look, I want to help.
Right.
Yeah, there's a cost to it, and the cost is at the expense of family time.
Right.
But if you're happy at your job and you're happy with your salary, then your life is pretty good, and we can afford to do some things that if I were to take a different job and I worked less hours, I'd probably be making less money. It's like there's a trade-off,
Sure.
and I don't know. I don't know if I'm hoping I'm making the right choices here, but it's we as the profession have allowed academia to do whatever they wanted, regardless of whatever we as the end users say.
Right.
And it's nice that there's a wide variety of courses and things like that available, but as end users, we've been saying for 20 years, you need to be doing this and this and this, and it doesn't seem to have made much change.
And there are conspirators in town, and you can probably who they are. People are trying to change the curriculum for the better, right? And people respond to stories, and this is a story that I'd advocate for and see what happens. RPI was founded as a civil engineering program to build Erie Canal in 1824 or whatever it is. 200th anniversary is coming up. Maybe it's not a stretch to say we came up with the civil engineering curriculum 200 years ago. In some ways,
yeah.
Let's junk it and make it up again.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff that has to happen.
Yeah.
But why doesn't Troy lead the way again in civil engineering?
Right. And again, I'm not saying anything.
Oh, I'm not either. I'm a big
them.
fan of.
And I think
the department.
I really do like the people up there. They're smart. They do well, and the students that come out of there are well prepared as graduate engineers.
And I'm with you. Like I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Right.
They are fighting battles on several fronts, and you got to keep the lights on. And nobody's building a new biotech center for civil engineering up there because that's not the new thing, right?
Yeah.
But in your general theme of we should just try, let's extract the good and ditch the rest and start anew somehow. Says me from the cheap seats, right? But
yeah. I don't think it's impossible. I just think it. I don't know if anybody has the backbone to wait that long. Right? It's just it even with where things were 10 years ago,
right.
Up on the hill, it's a big difference.
Yeah.
It really is a vastly improved end product. And again, I'm only talking about RPI because I teach there.
And I was a product of the department in 2006. I'm not lacking in self-confidence. I know I'm a beautiful butterfly. My self-esteem balloon's fine, right? But a self-assessment was I was not useless to my first employer.
Yeah.
But I was confident in the wrong things, and I was almost useless. And the people who graduate now are better than I was.
Yeah.
Just